Sharari, and today I have a special guest with me. He goes by Short Fuse. He is 3-3 pro record, Mr. Aaron Hughes. How we doing today, buddy?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Just got out of the gym, got home, spent a long day of training. Um, yeah, thank you for having me on the show, man.
Of course, man. Of course. Thank you for joining me. What kind of training did we get done today?
So this morning at 8:30, I taught a boxing class. Then at 10, I trained with Connor Matthews, another high level pro around the area. We trained in his mom's basement. Ironic.
Yeah, he's well known around here. We know of Connor Matthews.
Yeah, I trained in his mom's basement. He's got a nice little gym down there. Did some kickboxing, and then we did a MMA practice, and then we took an ice bath after. And
How was
then
that?
it was awful. It was
Yeah.
fucking awful. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I stuck through it. I did 3 minutes 15 seconds. Like I had to like push myself through that shit. But it fucking sucked. But you gotta get comfortable in the uncomfortable, you know?
Hell yeah. How long did it take for you to did it slowly get better, or was it just like hell
It
for that
sucked.
whole
No, it
yeah.
sucked. I mean, I've probably done an ice bath like 5 or 6 times. This one was the worst one. When it was like there was no ice in there.
Interesting.
We just like filled the water up from like last night, and it was just like super cold from the previous night,
Right.
and it was cold outside. But I took a real ice bath in the summer last year, like bags of ice and shit, and it wasn't that bad. Like after about 30 seconds, I was like, all right, I got this. This one was like I started shivering the whole time while I was in there. It was tough, man. I'm not gonna lie, but
I bet,
we pushed through it, and then I came home, made some lunch, taught a kickboxing private, and then I just did some pads and another kickboxing class. So
Damn, dude,
yeah,
busy
nonstop
day.
grind today. Yeah, man, that's every day for me. It
Hell
never
yeah.
stops.
So you wake up 8:30, you said? What time do you hit the hay?
Well, no, I taught a class at 8:30. I was up at like 7.
Okay.
I usually go to bed pretty early. Like I tried it to be in bed by 9:30, 10 at the latest. If I'm not in fight camp, it kind of varies if I'm like going out on the weekends and stuff. But when I'm in camp, I try to be in bed pretty early, like by 10:30 the latest.
Yeah. And are you a guy that takes naps throughout the day, or you just
Oh, I take my naps, man.
how important are those?
Um, they're not that important, but I try every day, just like at least like 15, 20 minutes, just like laying down, no phone, just like chilling. You know what I mean? It's like no TV, just closing my eyes for a little bit. Um, so it's not like super important, but it's definitely something that gets me through fight camp for sure.
Yeah, I bet, man. Especially like all the training that you do, a little time to take a rest and let the body, you know what I'm saying, get some sleep. I'm sure that helps.
Yeah,
Uh
and I'm training full time. I work a part-time job. I'm in school still too, you know. So it's like
oh,
I got a lot of shit going on in my life, you
yeah.
know.
What are you studying?
So I'm in school for psychology because I've worked with traumatized kids for the last 7 years, and
Wow.
it kind of like gave me a new perspective and a new outlook on life and how you kind of never know what somebody else is going through and shit. Um, but I'm also in school to be a dietitian, so I'm almost done with my psychology degree, and then I'm going to transfer my credits and look to be a dietitian. I worked with a nutritionist for a couple fights, and it changed everything I ever knew about food and nutrition. Um, so it really changed the way I cut weight and the way I treat my body and stuff. So I want to be able to give back to the other people who may be overweight or may not know how to cut weight the proper way and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, what are some tips for people who are overweight, people who are struggling to make weight for their fights? What are some tips and things that helped you during your weight cuts?
Um, when I worked with a nutritionist, like she was just very structured in making sure that my protein, like that I was hitting my protein amount every single day, and that I wasn't cutting out carbs. Like a lot of people think carbs are the devil. Carbs are not the devil. Like you can eat strictly carbs and lose weight. You know what I mean? You probably feel like shit, but it's like you're only gonna gain weight or lose weight if you're in a calorie surplus, a calorie deficit. So it's like, and being a fighter and or any kind of athlete who trains multiple times a day, you need to have carbs in your diet. So those are my two biggest tips: up your protein, keep your carbs up.
Mm. What are some healthy go-to snacks and meals that you love during your fight camps?
I honestly like. I'm not picky, man. I eat the same thing every day. Like I'll give you a brief rundown of like my day-to-day meals, right? So breakfast is always scrambled eggs with an English muffin with peanut butter and
Mm.
fruit. That's my breakfast every morning.
What kind of
Fight
fruit?
camp, and strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries.
Doesn't
It doesn't
matter.
really matter.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Um, lunch is always some kind of taco bowl, ground turkey or ground chicken with rice, um, vegetables on the side, cheese, and then I always have a Greek yogurt like snack. So I'll take some Greek yogurt, mix some protein powder in there, throw
Mm.
some berries, throw some fruit in there, and then dinner is always well. Dinner kind of changes. So like tonight, I'm gonna have cheeseburger, with some broccoli on the side and
There you
a
go.
little bit of stuff like that. But I keep it clean in fight camp. I'm not super restrictive, like with the amount of calories that I eat, but I'm super strict with the foods that go into my body when I'm in fight camp.
Mm.
Um, and this is something that I didn't know when I was an amateur. And like I see some of these guys weighing in and they're going to eat pizzas after weighing. I'm like, you're fucking dumb. Like you're gonna feel horrible
Right.
tomorrow, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
What's the correct approach? What are you supposed to eat after you make weight and you're dehydrated? Where do you go?
so ideally, you should be eating the same foods that you've been eating the last 8-10 weeks. Like, why are you gonna introduce something new, like the day before a fight? Like, I always tell like the fighters that I work with and shit, like, what's one more day? Like, what's one more day? Like, um, ideally, you're supposed to rehydrate first. Like, start drinking fluids. Like, um, one drink, 15 minutes, wait 15 minutes. Drink another one, 15 minutes, wait 15 minutes. Then you can start having like some little carb snacks, like maybe some rice cakes or dates or some kind of fruit, and then you start um, looking to incorporate real food back in your diet. But like I see some of these people weigh in 5 minutes later, they're eating hot dogs and pizza and shit. I'm like, dude, you're
Mm.
gonna feel horrible in about an hour.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? You know?
Yeah. On the conversation of weight cut, how's your weight cut these days? Is 55 is the weight class that you I know 45 is in the mix, 55. Where's the most comfortable weight class for you?
So I have 3 fights at 145 and 3 fights at 155. I'm 3-0 at 155. I'm 0-3 at 145.
Okay.
Um, so making 45 is tough, man. It's really hard for me. I don't like physically sweat out a lot of weight, like only like 3 to 5 pounds, but I have to like diet down a lot.
Mm.
Like I'm getting to like 150, 155 on fight week. Um, it's a lot. Like I'm naturally walking at like 170. Like
Wow. Yeah.
so cutting to 45 is tough. And I feel so much better at 155. Like just mentally, I know um like I know I can push a pace more. Like last fight, the day before weigh-ins, I did 50 minutes straight on the pads. 50 minutes. That's 10
Mm.
5-minute rounds straight. And I felt like I could have did another 10.
Jeez.
Um, at 45, like that's just like unheard of for me. So I still cut like I don't know, maybe like 7 to 9 pounds on fight week, but it's so much. Like I'm so much more happy at this weight. With that being said, you see some of the guys at 155 in the UFC, like Islam Makhachev and Drew Dober, and some of those guys are massive. So
Yeah.
at the next level, it'll definitely be 145 for me.
Okay.
But for now, I haven't lost at 155. Why not just stay here? You know.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. My
Keep
pro
that.
debut was at 155. Then I went down. Now I'm on a 2-fight winning streak.
Yeah. Two
So
straight first round guillotines.
yeah,
I mean,
guillotine
you're
queen, baby.
yeah, dude, you're rolling. The last one was like a standing one. It was fucking awesome. How was that feeling at CT 57 earlier in January?
Honestly, man, that was one of the best nights of my life. Honestly. So I was on a 3-fight losing streak, and then I fought September 9th in Maine. I finished the hometown guy, same exact move, same exact setup, same like it was like an identical sequence. I jumped guard the same exact way,
Jeez.
almost the same exact sequence, off the cage. So if you're hearing this and you're a wrestler, be careful, be careful. But yeah, man, Cage Sign 57. It was one of like honestly one of the best nights of my life, man. Like I sold 100 tickets. Um, I beat a guy with 25 fights. I finished them in. I finished them faster than the guy who's currently in the UFC, and it showed me that how good I am and that I actually belong. Like that wasn't a guy that I was supposed to go in there and roll over from what everybody was saying in the media. Like, oh, this is going to be a competitive fight. It's going to be a competitive fight. I knew that shit wasn't going to be competitive because I know how good I am and I know how hard I work. But from the outside looking in, it seemed, oh, this guy's got 25 fights. Aaron Hughes only has 5 fights. Like, this is a dangerous test. And I feel like I passed the biggest test of my career with flying colors. And I'm looking to test myself against bigger and better competition now.
Do we have a next fight lined up?
We do have a next fight. I'm not sure if I can announce it, but I'm gonna announce it anyway. So
Ooh,
I
some
mean,
news.
if Pulver wants to fight me, he can fight me.
There it is.
But so I'm fighting. So I called out a bunch of guys in an interview. I called out Aaron Lacey, I called out Zach Richard, and I called out Kenny Champion. Um, Aaron Lacey said yes, but he's fighting this Friday at a different show, Combat FC. So I don't want to wait two and a half weeks and then find out, oh, I'm not fighting. I did all this dieting for nothing. Like
Right.
now I'm not fighting. So I'm fighting this kid from New York. He's making his pro debut. His name's Grady Wall. He's a wrestler. He's 2-2 as an amateur, and he trains with the likes of Jacob Bond, Jake Hicksonbow, and those guys over there. I feel like he's a good test. He's a game opponent, but I'm coming to show, man. There's levels to this shit, bro. There's levels to this shit.
And is that gonna be under the Cage Titans banner in March?
It's gonna be for Cage Titans March 18th. Yeah. So
Let's rock that St. Patty's Day week.
yeah. So breaking news: Mike Colbert hasn't announced it yet, but I just announced it on your show. So
Hey man, I appreciate the news. You heard it here first. Sorry, Mike. We love you, Cage Titans, but the Hurt Business got this one. Uh, how excited are you for this fight, man? To get back in there and hopefully recreate the moment from January.
yeah. So honestly, after I fought January 7th, I was like, I'm gonna take some time off, spend some time with my family because I didn't really enjoy Thanksgiving. I didn't enjoy Christmas. I didn't enjoy New Year's, and because I was like in camp and dieting and cutting weight and shit. And then the day after the fight, I was back in the gym. And then Monday I was back in the gym, and then Tuesday I was back in the gym. Then all of a sudden 3 weeks went by. I hadn't taken a day off of training yet. I was like, and I started thinking, I'm like, man, I kind of just want to get right back in there. I was like, I wanted to take time off and enjoy myself a little bit, but I was like, I've been in the gym every fucking day. I'm like, it's not like I got super out of shape. So I was like, you know what? I messaged Mike. I'm like, see if you can get me in on the card. So, and we made it work. So I'm super excited to be getting back in there, man. I've said it a few times. Cage Titans is the best show in New England. I fought for all of them. The only one I really haven't fought for is Combat Zone. But all the other promotions, Cage Titans blows them out of the water. The way they treat everybody, whether you're a debuting amateur to a pro main eventer. Everybody's treated the same. Mike's and everybody at Cage Titans always has your back and shit. And I'm just super thankful that he's having me back on the show.
Yeah, man, it's gonna make for a big night. Yeah, we love Cage Titans over here on this podcast, man. They've great to fighters. That I love to hear that. They've been great to me as a medium person. They've been getting me in everywhere I need to be, keeping me updated on all the information, giving me interviews when I don't ask for them. They're awesome over there, man. I completely support that. But for you as a fighter and being in all these different promotions and fighting under all these different banners, you said Cage Titans is the best. But what makes it different than all the other guys and all the other
Yeah,
promotions?
it's just different, man. Like the way that they do media, like everybody gets exposure. Like, all right, I'll give you a prime example, right? I'm just gonna throw water to the wind right here, okay? I fought September 9th in Maine for New England Fights. I fought a hometown guy, Jimmy Jackson. I guillotined him in the first round, right? And 2 days after the fight, the pictures were uploaded, and I shared the pictures on my Facebook page. I kid you not. There was 3 pictures in the entire album of me, or 4 pictures. There was like 70 pictures in the whole album, and there was like 4 or 5 pictures of me. There was 2 of me walking out, and 2 with my hand raised. There was none of me in the fight. There was none of me in the finish. There was none of me celebrating, and I was and there was like 100 pictures of this guy walking out. I'm like, what the fuck kind of shit is this, dude?
Yeah.
So like stuff like that, like Cage Titans treats everybody the same. Like from pictures, from media to the way they just do business. Like Mike's always been a man of his word. The way like they pay really well for not only pros but for ticket sales too. Which there's other promotions out there that pay well, like New England Fights paid me pretty well and stuff. But like I definitely made the most money I've made yet in a fighting for Mike. I sold the most tickets. I had the most fun, and I've definitely got the most media exposure fighting for Cage Titans. So
Hell yeah. And what about like being in the octagon and hearing the crowd and everybody around? Is Cage Titans the loudest arena?
100% Cage Titans is it, bro. There's no better place to fight than Memorial Hall. The only thing I'm like when it comes to Cage Titans is the fact that the cage is so small. But it is like I'd rather fight in a small cage and fight at Cage Titans than fight in a big cage and be treated like shit. So yeah, it's like I was super nervous on fight night, and then I walked out and I just heard the crowd, and I was like, bro, I fucking belong here. I'm like, this place is sold out right now, going crazy. I'm like, this is my show. So yeah, man, just like hearing the crowd was just fucking crazy. Like just like seeing I had a whole support section, like everybody that bought tickets were all sitting together. So it was fucking insane, honestly. It was absolutely insane.
Yeah. When you're walking out, do you notice your section of people that are there specifically for you wearing all your merch? Do you notice them first making your walk?
Well, I kind of talked to everybody like before the fight, so I already knew where they were sitting. But for Cage Titans, when you walk out, they walk you through the crowd. I walked right through my section, so I walked through. I was like, "Let's fucking go!" And then everybody started going crazy. Like I'm like fist bumping all my family as I'm like walking out. I'm like,
Yeah.
"This is fucking badass, dude."
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, hell yeah.
That's sick, bro. That is so awesome. And to get a finish like that in the first round in front of all your family and friends, I can understand why you think it's one of the special moments of your whole life. Uh but the standing guillotine, man, is this something you're like drilling all the time? Is this like a signature move?
I don't really drill it like the standing guillotine. I just got so my last amateur fight was November 2019 for Cage Titans, and I ended up winning by a unanimous decision. But I snatched this kid's neck like 3 or 4 times, guillotine, and I just couldn't finish it, right? And then I went to the gym Monday with my jiu-jitsu coach. Shout out to Tommy Texera.
Shout out
Jiu-jitsu coach
Tommy.
at Regiment Training Center,
Okay.
black belt under Tim Burrell. But we went to the gym that Monday, and he showed me what I was doing wrong. And ever since then, like I guillotine everybody, dude. Like black belt, brown belt, white belt, it don't matter. Like I hit that sub all the time on high level guys, and like I just kind of feel it. Like the one that I hit in Maine, like I was drilling that exact setup, right? Like not so much for the guillotine, but just like swimming in, right? And I just like swim. I just like felt it right away. I was like, oh shit, guillotine. The one that I hit at Cage Titans, like it's it was very, very similar. Like not exactly the same, but super close to the same setup. And I drilled that exact little setup, like push the head, swim over, grab it. And normally I wouldn't hunt it like that, but I locked it up in the first 10 seconds, like of the fight. I snatched it up super quick. He came out, he blitzed me, he shot.
Mm.
I jumped it. This time when I jumped it, he slammed me on my head, but I still had to choke. I was like, it was super tight, and he said it wasn't tight, but he was like purple, and I used it to sweep, landed some ground and pound, and I was telling myself, if I get that neck again, I'm finishing. So I just adjusted it a little bit, and as soon as I got it the second time, as soon as I jumped it, I knew it was over. I was like, there's no way this dude's getting out of this. Like I knew how tight it was. And yeah, it's like, so I don't necessarily drill the standing guillotine, but I use the guillotine all the time, and I'm so good at it now to a point where I can pretty much hit it from any position. Um, so if I grab the neck, like I'm gonna sacrifice and pull guard or jump guard, or I'm gonna sweep you with it. So I'm drilling that shit all the time. So like I said before, if you're a wrestler, be careful.
Yeah. Your next opponent, you said, was a wrestler, right?
Yeah, so they say.
Ish.
They say
Yeah.
he's a wrestler. I watched some of his amateur fights. He's not bad. He's got like decent technical striking, but I feel like from a striking perspective, like I'm a hard fight on the feet for a lot of people in the area. I know I'm a tough
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hurt Business Podcast. My name's